And hello to the friends online. Hello, good morning. And we're going to begin with the chanting.
We'll start with a short Vajra lineage prayer, which is under the tab of the first tab, Dorje Chang. Dorje Chang Chan Te Lo Na Ro Dang Marpa Mila Chu Je Gam Po Pa Du Som She Ja Kun Ken Karma Pa Che Shi Chung Je Ju Sin Nam Dang Dri Tak Sal Sum Pal Den Dru Pa So Sam Chak Ja E La Nya Ne Pe Nya Me Dro Gun Dak Po Ka Ju La So Adep So Ka Ju La Ma Ju Pa Zin Nam Tar Jing Ji Lo Shen Lo Gong Ji Kong Pa Song Pa Sin Se Nor Kun La Chak Shen Me Pa Dang Se Di Du Ta Chu Be Gong Chen La Me Kur Shen Pa Me Par Jing Ji Lo Mu Gong Ji Go Song Pa Shin Men Yak Ter Go Je Pe Lama La Jun Lu So A De Pe Gong Chen La Chemin Mu Gu Tie War Jin Ji Lo Yang Mei Gong Ji Nu Si Song Pa Xin Gang Shar To Pe No So Ma De Ma Chu De Kar Jo Pe Gong Chen La Gong Ja Lo Dang Dra Wa Jin Ji Lo Nam Tok No Chu Ku Song Pa Xin Chi Yang Ma Yin Chi Yang Char Wa La Ma Gak Ro Par Char Wei Gong Chen La Kor De Yer Me To Pa Jin Ji Lo Ke Wa Kun Tu Yang Rak Lama Dang Rame Chu Ki Pa La Long Chu Ching Sadang Lam Ji Yun Ten Rab Zok Ne Dorje Chang Yi Go Pang Nyu Chop Shok Dorje Chang Yi Go Pang Nyu To Shok. And now go to the tab that says Mandala, seven branch prayer, Mandala offering. Chaksal Wang Dang Chu Ching Shak Pa Dang Jesu Yirang Kul Shing Sol Wa Yi Ge Wa Chung Se Da Gi Chi Sak Pa Tam Che Da Gi Jan Chu Chi Nu Sa Shi Po Chu Ju Sik Tu Cho Ram Rira Printi chen tam je che adam yo je dra ji ta wa che chung te mong te pa ye che ki por lo por du so.
So good morning again, and I think it's very precious that the songs of Jesus Milarepa are still existing and available for us even today after so many hundreds of years. And not only that, we have the translation, in many different languages in the world, so we can read and understand what the songs mean. So it's, I think it's really, we're very, very fortunate in that way. When I was preparing for the teaching of Milarepa songs, it took me a long time because first I have to find the text in Tibetan and then in English, find where they are in the corresponding Tibetan, and then get the transliteration and format that file and everything. It took a long time. But in the process of doing that, I felt like great blessing of Milarepa is all around. So I'm saying it because I would like to share with you that we might think that because he lived so many hundreds of years ago, maybe, and he's not living in the world, maybe his blessings are maybe a little bit diminished. His words, his songs are still here, but what about his blessings? We might have some, reservation. But I think the blessings have not at all diminished. The blessings are just as much as they were during his lifetime. And so, as he said himself, anyone who hears my name or hears my songs, they will be blessed and they will never fall into the lower realms. That was his promise. So I think he made the promise not lightly at all. He really has kept his promise up to today and way down in the future as well. So in that way, I think it's very meaningful for us to spend this weekend to read his songs, to try to understand the more profound and deeper meanings of what he was trying to convey, rather than just singing them like regular songs. We should understand what he's trying to teach in these songs, and to implement what he has advised as well. I think that's the key. So let's begin by singing or chanting what we went through yesterday. The first song we did sing, but I think the second song we ran out of time, so we didn't end up singing it. I think it's good to sing it, and also by singing the song, we again receive the same blessing that was bestowed upon whoever he was singing the song to. If we sing it with devotion, I think the blessing's the same as if he were right in front of us, singing it to us. Okay, so this is on page 5, correct? Yes. Okay. So the song that he sang when he was at Gyambin Sky Fortress. Lama tambe shamla du ne me me wembe na da na mila cha me be jodu de na sa me be gyuru de nyawa me be dulu de doba me be denzen de Jawa me be dumo de Shumba me be dushu de Sowa me be sonam de Yenwa me be wene de Deso duge kesoin tabshenigi tebade keso sonju nyamlende nonjo mebe tembade Lodro mebe majede desongagi kesoin ngaso mebe dawaide Gyunche mebe gombade Nyamba mebe jebade Jendo mebe jebode Deso semge kesoin Gyume dome sade Deche nam daing su de Kame chagu rondu de Shindu de we ansung de Nyam nyon luru lang bayin Da ju song du je wayin Nene chan chu chu ba nam Nyam su le na de da ze Repeat Nene chan chu chu ba nam Nyam su le na de da ze. Okay, good. Now we look at the song from chapter 7, which is entitled The Yomo Snowy Range. So the story goes, while the Jizun's practice was greatly flourishing, 5 young nuns from Menyu. Menyu is, I think, north is around the northern border of Bhutan. Sometimes it's just translated as just Bhutan, but I was told that there is a difference. Menyu, I think some Rinpoche just went to Menyu recently. Anyway, so Menyu is probably nowadays not Tibet anymore. So it's probably part of Nepal or Bhutan. I can't be sure. Anyway, so he was there. So 5 young nuns came to request teachings from Milarepa. They said to him, because there are many fearsome conditions here, it is a place where experience and realization greatly flourish and practice is enhanced. Guru, have you also found this to be so? And the reason they said that is because the more dangerous the place is, in other words, the more fearsome your environment it is, the more challenging the conditions are that you're facing, the more your practice will advance. For this is really meant for very advanced practitioners. But anyway, in response, he sang this song of praise, that place, a praise of that place, and of how his experience and realization arose. So he sings, "I bow at the feet of the noble Guru," referring to Marpa. "By gathering merit, I have met such a Lord." You know, it's not easy to meet very authentic teachers, such as Marpa and other great teachers. And in our time, you know, great teachers in our lineage and other lineages are all very difficult to come by. You might think, oh, there are many of them, but to be able to actually meet them and receive teachings from them, empowerments and instructions from them personally, it requires a lot of merit. We talked about the importance of the gathering of merit yesterday, and this is one of the reasons that we need to gather merit, because the more merit we have, the more it will allow us to do practices without obstacles, the more it will allow us to meet truly great teachers and to study with them. So here, Milarepa said, yeah, having gathered a lot of merit, I have met such a great teacher. Because of the Guru's prophecy, I have come here, because Mahabharata told him to go off, you know, don't stick around with me. Because as is often said by teachers, you know, if you stick around me too much, you'll see me as just an ordinary person. You know, I eat, I sleep, I do things, I talk just like a normal person. So you won't see me as a Buddha. You won't see me as a great teacher. And it is true in many cases. So it's better to just go and practice and don't stick around. And also in this case, in the case of Milarepa, it was really necessary. Marpa had already seen in his vision that if Milarepa can just go off on his own and go to places where there are no people around, his practice will really go well. And so he gave him the command that, no, you leave, don't, I know you like to be around me, but you should leave and just do your practice. And that was what he said. Anyway, so because of Marpa's prophecy and instruction, he said, I have come here. Also, there are places where perhaps in Milarepa's own vision, Marpa gave him instructions on, where specifically he should go, which places that he should go. So that's why he said this. And then this blissful castle in the wooded mountain of Maine, is one of the places that he was instructed to go. It's a land of grassy mountains with radiant flowers in the midst of many dancing trees, a land where langurs and monkeys play, a place where birds sing myriads of songs, a land where bees fly gently about, where rainbows shine forth day and night. Rainbows at night, I don't know what that means, but I guess that's what he said. Where light rain falls in both summer and winter, where the mist billows in fall and spring, within such a solitary place, for me, the yogi Milarepa. So it's funny that he says this is such a beautiful, nice, place, whereas the nuns who are living in the exact same place said, oh, there are many fearsome conditions here, and blah, blah. So let's see. Okay. So within such a solitary place, for me, the yogi Milarepa, the luminous experience of meditation on the emptiness of mind feels so good. So this is the first thing that makes him feel very good. Now, because we're talking about things that makes him feel good, makes him happy. So again, we're looking at what are the things that makes him feel good, makes him happy and joyful and blissful. He says the first thing is his experience of meditation. Experience is what? Is luminous. Luminosity, as we said yesterday, is one of the aspects, or maybe more appropriate to say, one of the qualities of the mind. So his meditation, is a luminous experience, because in his meditation, we need to distinguish here the two kinds of meditation. One is called shamatha, the other is called vipassana. Now, in shamatha meditation, we're trying to focus the mind one-pointedly on something. It can be an external object, an internal object, such as something within your body. External object can be a pebble, a stone, or an image of the Buddha. Or it can be something, it's hard to say whether it's external or internal, such as your breathing. You're following your breathing, or you're counting your breath. And all these are just so your mind can calm down and be focused on just one thing. And then gradually you can expand that to focus on your immediate environment, and then expand that to the region you're in, or then gradually expand it to the entire country, and then again to the entire world, and then beyond that to focus on the entire space, or we can say entire galaxy or entire universe. So all that that kind of meditation, even though you might think when you expand your meditation to the entire space, is that shamatha or is that vipassana? It is still shamatha, because there's still a focus. Whenever there's a focus, is shamatha. Even if the focus is nothing, like just space, that is still shamatha. And then there's a kind of shamatha which is objectless. There's no object of your focus. But even that kind of meditation, where there's no something, such as an object or space, that you're focusing on, even you just let your mind just relax and you're not thinking or focusing on anything, that is still shamatha. So I want this to be clear. Now, the kind of meditation that Milarepa did is not this, because he's already beyond this kind of meditation. His mind was already stabilized. It's not distracted. So he was already in a different kind of meditation. And that we can say it's vipassana. Vipassana is this term can be a little bit confusing, because some people use the term vipassana, and I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just a different kind of approach to vipassana. There's the vipassana approach of still focusing on something, maybe focusing on your mental thoughts or whatever it is, I don't know. But in the teaching of Mahamudra, vipassana is a synonym to Mahamudra, a synonym to resting in mind's nature. So I just wanted to make that clear. And so when you are doing Mahamudra meditation or resting in your mind's nature, there's no focus. And the resting is actually, we say rest, but you're not actually just resting, like if you're going to sleep and you rest. It's not like that. And you're not actually trying to do anything. So it's not really our normal understanding of so-called meditation, because when we think of meditation, we think of something that we are focusing on, or something we're resting on, something that relaxes us. Some people use mindfulness meditation, or relaxation meditation, or stress release meditation, whatever. They use meditation for a purpose, no matter what kind of technique they use. But here in Milarepa's meditation, it is not for stress, certainly not, it's not to release any kind of anxiety or emotion. It is not to rest in any kind of mental state. It is not. It is the resting of non-resting is what he's doing. And that is what we call Mahamudra, because resting in mind's nature is there's nothing. The mind's nature, there's nothing in it to rest in. And so it's the resting of non-resting. And so, however, you can't say it's nothing, because he says here, it's luminous, and that luminosity is not fabricated. He's not trying to create a mental state of luminosity. If you do that, that is not the kind of meditation we're talking about. The meditation of Mahamudra actually is the meditation of non-meditation, because there's nothing that you can meditate on or in or beyond. It is just non-meditation itself. So what you might say, well, what are you doing then? What exactly? You're doing nothing, So the doing nothing is what is being done, we can say. So it's very difficult actually to grasp the idea. But when you're in it, it is what it is exactly like what he says. It's luminous. And so he says the meditation on the emptiness of mind feels so good. The emptiness of mind is not emptiness, is not empty. It's not something that's like in a hollow space or in a kind of empty space. It is luminous, that he said. So in other words, his meditation is the combination, or we should say the unity or the union of emptiness and luminosity. And that experience, or that kind of meditation, or we can say that kind of non-meditation, feels so good, he said. And that kind of feeling so good, as I said yesterday, it's beyond perception. And usually when we say, I feel so good, it's a kind of perception, isn't it? It's a kind of feeling. You feel good, and you feel there's a subject, there's you that's feeling good, and there's a condition that makes you feel good. So there's a subject and object, and these two combine, and you feel good. But this kind of feeling good that Milarepa is talking about is beyond that. There's no I that's feeling good. There's no something that's making you feel good. So that kind of good feeling is not something ordinary people can experience. It's not something that a non-practitioner, non-meditator can easily experience. So we read the words of the great masters. They would say, it's inexpressible. I can't tell you. That's how they feel. Okay, so his feeling good is this kind of feeling good. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So don't think he's like, oh, I feel good. If you meet him, he's not like that. It's like, today I feel really good. It's beyond that. You know what I mean? So. Okay, then then he says, however many negative manifestations arise. However many negative meditations arise, it feels extremely good. And so that kind of feeling good cannot be influenced by any kind of internal or external manifestations that are either positive or negative. He says now it's negative manifestations. We may understand it to be external, like the environment, the terrain is rugged and it's really, a lot of snow, a lot of rain, maybe floods, those negative manifestations of nature, or negative manifestations of beings, such as demons or ghosts or whatever, harmful animals, whatever they are. But however many negative manifestations arise, he says, it feels extremely good, better than that experience, that meditation of luminosity and emptiness. Because previously that sentence says, it feels so good, right? And now he says, even better than that is to have negative experiences, revealing in front of you. That feels extremely good, not just very good, extremely good. And the reason why, regardless of what he's confronted with, and he can maintain or even enhance his feeling of bliss and goodness, is because those manifestations bring out the clarity even more, bring out the clarity of his own mind even more, enhances his clarity. And that is why it feels even better, even more blissful. And this is probably very difficult to understand. How can that be? But I can only tell you based on the teachings that I have received, and the books that the very few books that I've read. But anyway, this is how it's expressed in these teachings. That the more challenging the environment is, whether it is external or internal, such as your own conflicting emotions, your own negative emotions, the stronger these are, if you're a good practitioner, if you're a very solid practitioner, the more it'll bring out your meditation. You will experience at that time how vivid that clarity and or that luminosity is. That was what I was taught. But of course, this requires the practitioner to have already gotten to a certain level for it to happen. Because in most cases, for us, it doesn't happen. Whatever happens that is unpleasant, that is causes mental stress or mental sadness or anger or whatever it is, we are engulfed in it. We're just swallowed by those emotions. We can't get out of it. That's where we are at most of the time. Sometimes we can get out, sometimes not. But most of the time we just carried away by the storm of emotions. And it does no good to our meditation, right? It actually, we can't meditate in those situations. But for someone whose meditation is pretty good, those storms, doesn't stick. They don't stick. They are maybe a second or an instant of feeling overwhelmed, but the meditation then rises above and then takes over. And then those conflictive emotions then can be transformed immediately into this meditative state of luminosity. and bliss. And so it takes a lot of practice over and over again. But we can always try. Yeah, we can always try. Even if we can't get there, it is helpful to some degree, as long as we try. And then he says, when the highs and lows are intense, it feels even better still. So better than the previous condition where many negative manifestations arise. He says, when these manifestations could be high and sometimes low, and they're very, very intense, because of my meditation, in the face of them, I feel even better still, So to a real meditator, there's nothing that is not practice. Everything is part of their path. Everything is their practice. Everything can be incorporated into their practice. My body free of negative karma feels good. He has purified all his negative karma. And because our body, when it feels very heavy and there are sicknesses, these are all results of our negative karma. And that's why we are born with this kind of, very heavy body and can get sick very easily. But when the negative karma is purified, even though you still possess the same body as before, but you don't feel heavy. You feel very light. You don't really need much food at all. And I think we must have, some of you must have seen stories of great practitioners, who can be in meditation for months on end and don't need any food. And so the body is light, does not need much sustenance, and it feels very good all the time, and there's no sickness. When there is a myriad of disturbances, it feels extremely good. So these are all similar, just using different examples of how he could feel even better when the challenges are greater. When the disturbances are great, then it feels greater in proportion. When fearsome appearances are intense, that feels even better still. So when conditions are, very, very frightening, and not just slightly frightening, but very, very intense, he says that feels even better. I think at this point we might feel very discouraged, yeah? Where am I? I'm not even understanding how that can be. How can this happen to me, to my meditation? Yeah. But at least we should be reassured that if he can do that, we can too. Because his mind's nature is the same as mine. There's no difference. And if we meditate, if we practice, then we can get there, just like he did. We should at least have that kind of confidence and faith. Then being free of afflictions, birth and death feels good. This I can agree, right? Because, who wants afflictions? Who wants the cycle of birth and death? You die and you're born again, and you die again. If you can go beyond all this vicious circle, you can go beyond this cycle of samsara, then of course we can all imagine that must feel very good. You remember yesterday I told you that our 3-year retreat men's cook, that when he greets people he would say, "How's your mind?" You remember? And he was very, very interesting. one day, so this was some years ago, he was driving in the wintertime, and there was a patch of ice which he couldn't really see. So his car went off the edge, and there was like a very, very steep hill down next, down the road, down the side of the road. So his car lost control, and it went off the hill. And as he was going down the hill, he thought to himself, he told me this. He said, I feel like I'm going to die. I thought I was going to die. And then a thought arose in me that said, that's fine. I just thought, that's fine. It's just another birth-death cycle, he said. And as he was thinking of that, the car hit a tree and he was fine. He came out completely uninjured. So anyway, birth-death cycle, if we can take it lightly, then there's less suffering and less fear. But most people are not like that. There's a great amount of fear when they face death, and a huge resistance to dying, from most people. But if you can not only not fear death, but go beyond even having to die, and take birth, without any control, and then what kind of blissful state is that? It's completely, unimaginable bliss, isn't it? So, going on, when the demon's savagery gets worse, it feels extremely good. Normally, when we talk about demons, first of all, a lot of people don't believe that they are truly demons. But in Tibet, everybody believes they are demons, and there are things that demons could do to harm you. So there are ways, practices and rituals that can be done to ward off these demons. But anyway, he says, even if the demons get really, really vicious, I feel that's good, that's great, I feel very good. I don't, he's saying, I'm not afraid of demons, Why? He didn't say, but obviously, when we don't hold on to a self, when we don't have a fixation on a truly existent self, the demon's attacks are like attacking empty space, isn't it? You're like empty space. You don't have a feeling, oh, they're attacking me. You don't have that feeling because you don't hold on to this me. So even if you're attacked, you don't feel fear. Instead, you feel pretty good, because it's that feeling of non-self. It's not really a feeling, but anyway, the non-self itself manifests as greater bliss, greater luminosity, and all that. I remember years ago I was in a teaching, and this was maybe in the 1990s or something like that. And his own psychiatrician was giving a teaching. And all of a sudden, he was on a stage. And I was sitting closer, to the stage, kind of in the front. And all of a sudden, some unknown person, a man, just walked up the stage and was like threatening, because kind of, it was a little bit, he wasn't going to start to attack his own psychiatrist, but it was very, very worrisome. What was he going to do, and I looked at his own psychiatrist. There was no fear. in fact, on the contrary, he was looking at the person that all of a sudden walked up the stage. And now that I think of it, at the time I didn't know what His Holiness was looking at. He was looking at the person. That's what I saw, but I didn't know what was in his mind, you know. But now that later I thought of it, I realized he was looking at the person and with a lot of compassion, hoping he would not do anything to create negative karma, you know. So instead of wanting to protect himself, he wanted to protect this person who might do something to either harm himself or harm someone else, and then create bad karma. And that is, you know, that is how the great being's mind is. Because there's not a self that they want to hold on to, their compassion is all pervasive. All their concern is for others, not for themselves. And that is also another source of their great joy and bliss. Whenever we want to protect ourselves, there's always fear of something, right? Fear of losing something, fear of not gaining what we want, fear of being harmed, fear of getting sick, fear of dying, this and that, because you want to protect yourself. When that self is taken away from your being, that sense of self is taken away from your concept, then there's bliss. So I think this is what it means here when the demons are really, you know, fearsome. It feels extremely good. And then when there is no sickness, it feels even better still. And like we said, he experiences no sickness. So, of course, it's very good. Suffering arising as bliss feels good. Now this sentence, suffering arising as bliss, it struck me because we have a coming three-year Lama chat group on WhatsApp. And whenever someone posts, you know, please pray for this person, they're sick or they're dying or they're whatever, and there's one Lama who then always respond with this sentence, may suffering arise as bliss. And I always thought, why don't they be more compassionate? You know? You're hoping their suffering can become bliss, but they need your help. But anyway, it you know, that came from here, I realized. Yeah, but you know, that is all very good, but that is not the state where we're at, you know. Suffering is suffering. How can it be bliss? But that is the state of mind, or that is the experience of Milarepa. Suffering, when suffering arises, first of all, he does not suffer, so he's just saying it, you know. But anyway, if there were suffering, he says suffering just arises as bliss. As soon as suffering arises, it is already bliss. That's his experience, you know. That's how amazing this practice can lead to, you know, this path can lead to. This path that we're so fortunately engaged in. True core coming from meditative experience feels extremely good. So true core is a kind of a yogic exercise that is done to enhance the inner heat, like we talked about yesterday, the chandali, and to tame the winds in the body. And yesterday we also saw that Milarepa said that the winds in his body are, you know, there's no coming and going, they're completely tamed. So Chugo is a kind of yogic exercise that can help the body to achieve that goal of taming the winds so that they are not wild, and also enhances inner heat. So one of the benefits of that is that, you don't feel cold anymore. And that's how Milarepa was able to, remain in cold, snowy mountains without clothing. So he says, struggle coming from meditative experience feels extremely good. Then the dancing of running, jumping feels even better still. So I guess he runs and jumps. I don't know, Sometimes when he wants to, he can run and jump and maybe sing, whatever. But whatever he does, really, sitting, jumping, running, dancing, everything is joyful. Everything is a source of joy. There's not a moment when he's bored, One might imagine, he's alone, nothing to do, just sitting there, don't have to cook, no books to read. Nowadays we would say no cell phone to, to work with. Isn't he extremely bored? He's not. He's extremely joyful all the time. This treasury of spontaneous song feels so good. So, yeah, every song is sung spontaneously. He did not need to compose. He did not need to, meditate on, okay, what am I going to sing? Everything just comes out of his mind, just flows out of his mind. And it feels very good to sing it. And it's a treasury because he has endless songs to sing. He can sing on and forever without him even feeling like I'm exhausting my reserve of songs. Would never say that. Would never be exhausted. Such words that are like the melodies of bees feel extremely good. Now, I don't know what the melodies of bees are. Maybe Susie, Anyway, must feel good. When the sound becomes merit, when that sound becomes merit, it feels even better still. So that sound of the bees becomes merit, which means that when the words that he sings become source of merit, because his songs benefit whoever is listening, right? So it's a source of merit. And if the people who are listening then can bring the meaning of the songs home and contemplate on them and practice them, then there's even more merit. So it becomes merit. The confidence of strength of mind feels good in the expanse. He has complete confidence in how powerful the mind is. We might think, well, didn't you say the mind's nature is emptiness, so how can emptiness have any power? It's just emptiness. But no, it is not just emptiness. As we said many, many times over already, you might be tired of hearing it, but I'll say it again, just so you don't make a mistake of thinking the mind is still just emptiness, because you've heard it so many times in the past. But I want to add, the mind's nature is emptiness, yes, but it has qualities. It's not just hollow emptiness, It's not nothing, is what I want to say. It's not nothing. It has qualities. It has the qualities of bliss, luminosity, power is one of them too. It has great power. It has wisdom, the omniscient wisdom. So all that within that emptiness. So that emptiness is what? He says, in the expanse. So the expanse here does not mean kind of space, we think of expanse, we think of kind of a space. Space is not nothing, because space contains everything in it, right? So the mind is like that. The mind is like an expanse, but it has everything, all the qualities that you can think of. Mind's self-arising by its own strength feels extremely good. And also another quality of the mind is that while it is emptiness, while it embodies or possesses all these qualities, the mind is self-arising. That means thoughts can be produced by this mind, even though it is emptiness. Thoughts can arise. So we say it's self-arising because it does not need some other force, some other condition for the thoughts to arise. The thoughts arising from the mind are self-arising. And because the thoughts are arising, the thoughts are not other than just the mind itself. Therefore, to a Mahamudra meditator, thoughts are considered to be not other than just the mind itself. So that they're not to be regarded as enemies of meditation. They should be regarded as friends of meditation, because as soon as thoughts arise, if they're looked at directly, the thoughts are no longer thoughts. The thoughts are understood, are experienced as the mind itself. So they're good. And when you have that experience, it feels extremely good, he said. It's dawning as a variety, feels even better still. So the mind can arise as a variety of thoughts. And from these thoughts, as we know, the thoughts can create ideas, concepts, and that from those ideas and concepts, many things can happen. And that's how the world arises. So that's amazing. I feel very good about that. This yogi who has blissful experience and is happy makes this parting gift. I think this here is maybe a error here. It's a meeting gift. It's not a parting gift, because they just met. And in Tibetan it's also Jawa, which means meeting. So makes this meeting gift for a child with faith. A child with faith means the five nuns, the five nuns that met him. So he says, that's my gift for you, this song. And then at the end, it says, once he sang this, he gave the abhishekas, the empowerments and instructions to these five nuns, then had them meditate. And they developed excellent experience and realization, at which the Jejun was very pleased. The nuns said to Milarepa, even though you only stay in mountain retreats, you need to have conducive conditions, such as a good meditation cabin. We will provide them for you. The Jejun replied, I already have conducive conditions, like my meditation castle. This is what they're like. Then he sang this song of realization. So his meditation castle, of course, is an analogy, and we will look at it next. First, any questions? Yes.
Could you please explain what the luminous quality of light? Can you explain that? I never knew get my head around it.
How would you like me to explain?
Could you repeat the questions from below?
Oh yeah, the luminous quality of the mind. How should that be understood? Yeah.
Yeah, I've asked many teachers, some teachers what it means, and they give me an explanation, and I'll kind of get it. I understand that it's not luminous like a bright light. That's not what it is. I am kind of thinking that it refers to as a light kind of pervades, that the mind pervades, but I'm not really sure what's being referred to with that. Is it an adjective that when they speak of the luminous quality, what exactly is meant by that?
Well, I think that's for great teachers to answer. But from what I was taught in retreat, luminosity is sometimes translated as clarity. So luminous clarity, clarity of the mind. The mind itself is clarity, and the mind itself is luminosity. These two are kind of mixed. So it's kind of a luminous clarity. And I think, that luminosity is not like there's a light bulb that turns on, and it's also not like a sunlight, because these two are all, and other examples are all external objects that makes your environment luminous, right? The luminosity means the brightness or the clarity of the mind itself. And so when in meditation, the meditation of the nature of the mind, when you're in that meditation itself has the quality of clarity and luminosity. But it is not, there's not, the difference is that there is not an experiencer. There's no someone there that's experiencing it. I hope that makes sense.
I get what you're saying, but let me think on it.
Yeah. It's not so important, in my opinion, to understand what that means, because even if you fully understood what it meant, it does no good to your meditation. You still need to meditate to get there, Oh, okay. Yeah. True.
So I have a question about when he talks about a comparison of his blissful states, like one maybe even better than the next. Right? And it's like, so I kind of, imagine that when you're in that state, everything is the same, but he's kind of saying, no, this even feels better. So are there like levels of bliss? I guess there must be.
I don't know for sure. I don't really know, but I think for someone who is still on the path, who hasn't really reached the level of realization, there may be stages of bliss. Greater, one's greater the other. I don't know. I'm just thinking, and when you get there, I don't think there's any difference between one or the other, and that's why when I'm reading it, I'm thinking he was just saying it, for their purposes, yeah, to encourage them that while you think that challenges and demons and all these things are bad, to me, that's even better than just having nothing happen, something like that. Mm. Mm. Yes.
I understand that we're in a conversation that really has no qualitative judgment about bliss, but can you talk a little bit more about the risks of getting attached to meditative experience as if it's bliss?
Yes, that is actually a good, very good question. It is actually something we need to be very, very careful about. And that's why we need to always emphasize that, whatever practice you do, whether it's meditation, deity practice, or any practice you do, you need to always guard against hopes and fears and attachment to your meditative experience. And that, of course, comes from hopes and fears, There are people who probably, through their practice, that they get to a certain state where they have all sorts of experiences and they hold on to them very, very strongly and they wouldn't let go. And if one day that experience becomes less, they worry. And if it gets better, they're thrilled, they're happy all day, And the next day, maybe a different story, and it's the same story all over again. So their mood, just kind of evolves. What's the word? Revolves around their meditative experience. That is very bad. I'm sorry to say. You should never pay attention to where you're at, what experiences you have. As soon as you have a good or bad experience, you just let it go and keep going. Keep going. Just focus on your practice. Don't ever focus on your experience. Focus on your practice. That is very important. And don't expect, for your experience to increase or to get better and stronger and this and that. Those hopes are actually what we call the real demons. They're real obstacles. And if things don't get any better and actually the meditation gets worse because you become very busy, you're involved with your family or your work, and so you don't have as much attention on your practice. And so, it's getting worse, and then you start to get worried. Don't be worried. Just, reorganize your life and put more focus and time into your practice. That's what you need to do, with no hope of getting better. That's the thing. Don't think, because now I made adjustments, so I expect to be better. Don't expect anything. So the thing is, we need to understand everything we do as a practice is for the purpose of realizing no self. That's because there's no self to begin with, It's not something we want to make up. There has never been a self. And if we practice to make ourselves feel better or get better, that is self-contradicting, isn't it? You're practicing to get to the realization of no self, but all the while you're paying a lot of attention on how well you're doing, That's another fixation on the self. So we want to avoid that at all costs. And if you can do that, practice will naturally go very well.
Jan has a question on that.
Yes. Okay. Please.
It's just a very direct question about Vipassana and Mahamudra. You, first of all, thank you for these teachings. They're very wonderful and challenging at the same time. And but you said that these terms, these are synonymous, these practices, and I just wanted to make sure that I'm clear on that there's no difference between Vipassana and Mahamudra.
Yeah, there's no difference. In the Gammagaji tradition, according to the book, by the third Gyawan Gomaba, Rangjung Dorje, entitled The Ocean of Definitive Meaning, the Mahamudra, Ocean Definitive Meaning, he would refer to Vipassana as Mahamudra. And like I said, in this term can be used to mean many different things. But in our lineage, it is the same as Mahamudra.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So in Tibetan, just to maybe clear, in Tibetan, shamatha is shinet, okay, shinet. And then vipassana is laktung. Laktung is usually translated as, what does it mean? Insight, yeah, or yeah, kind of transcendent seeing. So anyway, laktung is used in the Mahamudra Ocean definitive meaning a lot. And we can't say a lot. It is used to refer to Mahamudra. So that's vipassana in Sanskrit. Just it's, in this circle is used as a synonym to Mahamudra, but not in other contexts. Okay, other questions? There was someone else? No? Yeah?
When you spoke yesterday about Milarepa's experience of joy, you contrasted it with our ordinary experiences of joy, which
Yeah.
is temporary and fulfill some desire,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But what I wonder in trying to understand this is whether my ordinary experiences of joy give me some clue or give me some glimpse of the kind of joy he's talking about. Sometimes you begin to wonder, have I ever experienced joy? But in the times that I have, I think of experiences of dancing, or but just take that. There is you forget yourself. The time, the moment seems to sparkle.
Yeah.
There's a vividness to it that in ordinary experience you don't have. I'm just wondering, I guess, is whether there's any sense of trying to understand the joy he's talking about by working through your own experience of joy.
Yes, I think, yeah, that can, if you're working through your own experience of joy, that is still working with something. Whereas Milarepa's experience of joy is there's no person who's working at all. When there's no person, that is already itself is joy. So it is not something we can experience without meditation, without getting somewhere in our meditation. But I think perhaps we can maybe kind of get a feeling for what it might be like by maybe recollecting there were probably times when we're just sitting and looking at the skies or the clouds or the ocean or the mountains or just a beautiful garden, whatever. We're not thinking of much of anything, and we're just sitting there. But at the same time, we feel very peaceful and joyful. And it's not really because of what you're looking at. It's just because your mind is very calm when you're in that situation. It's maybe something closer to that kind of experience, I think, maybe. Okay. Yes.
Yesterday, in one of the songs we discussed, he talks about preferring, liking the place where there were no distractions and no one bothering him. But today, in his song, he talks about how all these things that we'd call hard actually bring him bliss. Can you kind of explain that contrast?
Yes. Actually, his attainment was such that he could have just gone into the cities, and just in the middle of the crossroads, and then just, he could start singing and dancing, and he would be fine. He wouldn't be embarrassed, he's in that, because there's no grasping onto the self that I need to protect my image. There's no such concept anymore for him. So he could very well go into the cities, the villages, and like he said, his experiences and realization would continue to flourish, continue to progress. But he chose to still remain in, isolated places. I think it's because of Milarepa's instruction. He was following his teacher's instruction. I think in order to establish an example for later generations, to encourage them to do the same. But he himself, after he attained realization and had established stability in that realization, there was no need really. But he continued to do so anyway, as to set an example, I think. Okay, you want to sing the song? Okay.
Lodro,
Yes.
this may be the one that we have the English that we could.
Oh, really? What's the title? Did you?
It's called, I think it's the same one. It mentions the monkeys and langurs and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it's students of Khepo Soptra and Gyamso singing. And then it has it on the computer.
Perfect. Did people online, did they hear it?
Yes, they will.
Okay. So we're gonna.
Same as the
Perfect.
translation.
Perfect. So we're gonna sing the song in English, following the Khenpo Sojin Gamso's melody.
It's the same as this, as far as I can tell, it's the same as.
I think that's the title of it.
It isn't the same title, but this is chapter 7 that we just read. I think the English is.
It's not.
Let's check it.
It's not,
Okay.
okay, I'm sorry.
It's not the same word.
It's not the same words.
Same words, but it's
Translation.
It's the same song but different translation. Oh, too bad. Huh. And we don't have a large screen to show, yeah? The people on Zoom can probably share the screen and know, but we don't have a big enough screen. Maybe we can just listen. We don't necessarily have to follow the words, yeah? Listen to, yeah.
recording of it.
There's a recording. How about this? The people on Zoom can follow because they have the share screen with words, and we can just listen maybe. Or try to sing along, if possible. We don't have the exact words, but the meaning's the same.
Can we make the screen bigger and show?
Only
I don't
if...
think the sound's coming through, I'm sorry.
Okay, right. But can you play, can
I
you...
think maybe they can hear it.
Oh, it is?
Flying
solitary place like this, I, the yogi Milarepa, am feeling very clear like well, meditating on emptiness mind. When I get a lot of stuff coming up, I feel extremely well. When the highs roll into lows, feels even better still. Feels so good to be a human being without the karmic deeds. When confusion gets complicated, I feel extremely well. Fears and visions getting worse and worse, feels even better still. Gracious birth and death and freedom from those, it's a good way to feel. With the bullies getting worse and worse, I feel extremely well. When there's not a painful illness inside, feels even better still. The suffering being bliss, feels so good that feeling bad feels good. Since the troper comes from what I am, it feels extremely good. To even run about his dance, feels even better still. To be a king of speech, with a treasury of song feels good. That the words are like the buzzing of bees, feels extremely good. That the sound it makes is merit collecting, feels even better still. The bliss is good in the expense of the confidence of strength of mind. What develops on its own by its own force feels extremely good. What comes out looking like a hodgepodge feels even better still. This happy experience song by a yogi carefree is for you who believe in what you're doing here, to take along with you when you go.
That is so nice, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, I think we will stop here for this morning, because if we continue, then it won't go much further. So we'll talk about the next psalm this afternoon at 1:30, and now we'll chant the dedication.
This is the last tab in the book. 2 pages. 3 pages. And last tab and last page of that, or 3 pages in dedication of merit. Sonam di tam che sik pa ni tom ne nye pe dra nam pam che ne ke ga na chi ba la truk pa yi si pe sole dro a son.
Thank you. I'll see you this afternoon.